My name is Devon Palmer. I'm a CIF member and instructor. I teach woodturning here at the Idea Foundry in my studio. Met up with the Idea Foundry probably 4 or 5 years ago in teaching a class. They had an interest, and ended up shacking up with them about a year ago when my studio, Junction View Studios over in Grandview, closed down, and it's been kind of a great partnership ever since. We share a lot of common interests in creating innovation, making things. I also have a background in technology. I work in computers as a infrastructure engineer. So it's a lot of shared interests that have made for a really good relationship in both advancing the Foundry and what they're trying to do and advancing my work as an individual artist. Originally I wanted to be a potter and had a class scheduled up with Dublin Arts, and it was canceled for whatever reason, and about that same time my father was getting into woodturning. He was a cabinet maker in the off season when he wasn't farming, and had gotten into woodturning, and it was kind of a chance for us to kind of reconnect later in life and give me a hobby, something to do beyond the 9 to 5. And got my first lathe, got bit hard by the hobby, and one thing led to another, and here I am. Probably one of the biggest events that helped move me forward was ComFest 2006. It was my first public show, my first big show, and being accepted into that, actually it injected me with a lot of capital that allowed me to buy some additional equipment, and the response was strong enough for me to say, hey, I can make this a viable business and something that I can do as potentially an early retirement into teaching and things like that. Bowls are my favorite thing to make because they represent a few things to me. It kind of represents family, the coming together, the breaking of bread, a sense of connectedness, of nourishment, and of home. So when I make those, it reminds me of those things. One of my favorite things that I'm making nowadays are hollow vessels. Specifically hollow urns, funerary urns for both pets and people, and just kind of the sacred nature of these objects. So one of the things that the Foundry has brought to me has been a sense of collaboration and shared effort, in understanding that, you know, we can choose to kind of pursue our interests, and we have our own ideas for what we want to get out of our business, but sometimes in partnering, it takes on a life of its own and can become greater than the sum of its parts. You know, if you're willing to flex and adapt and grow with the needs of the business partners around you. And I don't regard my studio mates as just friends, but more than that, we are partners. And we all work together towards common goals and use each other and leverage each other's talents in what we try to do. I would say that kind of defines my relationship with the Foundry. Originally when I joined, I had envisioned, you know, I'm going to have a studio. That's where I'm going to make my work. I'm going to come and go as I had in previous studios. But in kind of giving myself to the dream that is the Foundry, it exceeded any expectation that I would have had for my own individual pursuits, because it's been both kind of inspiration for me, seeing the people that I work with, the people that are here, and kind of learning to follow some of that. It's really turned out better than I could ever hoped.